So the final thing I want to do is look at a more urban setting and kind of experiment with what TestFit can do for us in a more, I guess, urban-friendly, pedestrian-friendly kind of environment. So we'll go to Buffalo, New York, and kind of head to a neighborhood that I'm familiar with that has a problematic, I guess, issue with it. I'll try to describe that a little bit and how we might use TestFit to just get a quick evaluation of it. So that's the high density downtown area, and we're going to move out to kind of where there's mixed use along what's called Elmwood Avenue here. And I'm going to take us to Bryant Street, which is in the neighborhood that I live in. And this corner here has been really kind of redeveloped in the last few years. We have a mixed-use building on this Express Mini Mart is a gas station here, but on the corner there is a mixed-use building with retail on the first floor, a coffee shop, a clothing store, and a hair salon, or a barber, and then living above with outdoor balconies. Same thing has happened across the street. 2 stories of first floor retail, second floor business, and then living above on, I believe it's 3 stories for a total of 5 stories. And then on this other corner here, this is a historic building that is also mixed use with a restaurant and a couple of other, I think a tattoo parlor and actually another restaurant, and then living above. So the Rite Aid here on the corner is really kind of out of place. It sits back in an urban style. It's not up to the corner as the other buildings are. It has a large parking lot in front of it. So this would be a site that could easily house a Rite Aid on the first floor and then have mixed-use living above it. So we're going to go and use the parcel tool, and we'll go ahead and grab that parcel right away. And we're going to put an unparked 5-story building on it. I'll confirm that. And it's going to have some problems right away that we can hopefully correct here. One is, you'll notice the little orange dotted line. That's the setbacks for the building. So if I go to zoning, I want to change the setbacks to 0 because in our community, there are no requirements for setbacks for buildings. So they don't have to be set back from the lot line. You can build right to the lot line, which you actually can see in these other buildings here. So these are right, here's the building footprint and the lot line, and they're basically lining up with each other. So TestFit automatically then actually still tries to create this amount of extra buffer space. And I think we'll get, if we go to the building, we'll get some options with where we set it on the site. I'm still not completely, happy about the way this is laying out here. So, but there's our idea of being able, and we're up on the 2nd floor, 3rd floor. That's our mixed units. We have our 2 forms of egress. If we were to go to the units, I think, or the verticals, we can actually add an elevator on. And we could go to the mix of the units. And if we change the mix of it, let's say we don't want any 3 bedrooms because we want to get more units in. We could take them completely out of the ratio altogether. And let's say we want it to be heavily weighted towards studios, and there we have a new mix of units within the building. Now we might say, well, this doesn't wrap that corner quite well, and I don't have a quick solution for this other than the idea is that we might actually, whoops, I don't know what I just did. I was still picking on parcels here. Hold on. Let's see if we can get back to that. I need to turn the parcel tool off so we're not selecting it. We could look at maybe thinking about acquiring some extra property next door in order to give us that kind of a wrap with the building. So that would be, obviously this is kind of the first idea of a fix here. You might experiment with actually making these units, some of these units a little bit smaller so we could get an extra one in here. Let's see what happens if possibly we go to the verticals and we turn the elevator off. And I don't know if we can actually push this back at all. All right, so anyway, so that's the idea there. Now we have a building created on that floor plate, and we have a first floor amenity. If we go down to the first floor, and we might want to, obviously we don't want to put units on the first floor, so the idea here is we want to adjust that amenity. So I'm going to go to the amenity, and I'm going to start upping the square footage until that's now all one retail space. And if you compare that to the existing Rite Aid, you'll notice that it is actually probably even a larger footprint. And the idea is that maybe with the acquisition of a little bit of land to this side of it, this could actually be parking and maybe have an entrance on the back side of the building at the same time for the Rite Aid. And then let's take a peek at it from a 3D view. And I think we can turn, what I'd like to do here is turn the buildings on so you get a little bit of context, although it's not a good context because we're really not seeing any building height. But the idea now is that we've kind of reinforced that corner with a building that now has development potential. For instance, we can say we can put 48 units there. We have this kind of ideas about soft land cost and hard land cost acquisitions, the cost and expenses to build it, returns on investment. Maybe more than we want to know as architects, but this is a quick way for us to help our client maybe explore possibilities that they may have in developing a parcel. So with that in mind, the last part will be to bring this into a screenshot of what you've done here into Revit for the third sheet of our presentation. So then for our final output, we have a second sheet layout, which is the this kind of urban site that you've done. Hopefully then or also included is a more rural site or a campus site, and the demonstration that you've imported it into Revit. So these are all just to show that you've gone through and experimented with TestFit, which is really the whole goal of the project. And if you have any ideas about wanting to embellish it or improve upon it, you're welcome to, but it's late in the semester, and I know you've got a lot of other coursework going on right now, especially with studio and thesis. So this would be sufficient for this project.